scrub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the crop, gotta love it or not. I'm hot from the hop to the scrub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the scrub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the scrub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the scrub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with everybody, we do it. Everybody, we do it.
You are now tapped into the coolest reptile podcast in the world. Top of the morning, top of the afternoon, top of the evening, no matter where you're at in this beautiful world. But you are now tapped into the coolest reptile podcast in the world. I'm your boy, MJ. It is Saturday. I am fucking excited to be here with all you guys. So let's get fucking into it, man. Before we get started, if this is your first time tapping in, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. You will not be dissatisfied by doing that. I'm telling you right now, I am on top of my shit when it comes to these podcasts. I drop a podcast every Thursday, 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, West Coast time. And I do my best when I'm able to get some legends together. I'll bring them on a Saturday like I am today. So I'm not doing these every Saturday, but I do these on Saturdays occasionally. So it's best for you to hit the subscribe button. That way you never miss a Saturday session like I'm about to drop today, man. So anyways, hit the subscribe button. You'll be happy. Also, you'll be happy if you get your rodents through the best, freshest, and bestest coldbloodedcafe.com. $30 flat rate shipping to your doorstep. Cannot beat that. Professional packaging, great team, always working, always putting shit together for your snakes, for your reptiles. coldbloodedcafe.com. Always got the best sales. Check them out. And then shout out to John, shout out to Alex, Sim Containers. There's a Repticon show in ATL right now, and I know Sim Containers in the house. So if you're at the ATL Repticon show, please go say what up to John at Sim Container. He has some of his Bell phase monitors at his booth. Some really cool other stuff that you might want to check out. So I don't know, if you're at the Repticon show, go by, say what up to the homie John. Be really cool. And shout out to Alex as well, Sim Container. Shout out to Ashley and Steven over at Focus Cube Habitats. The future of enclosures have arrived. Really awesome stuff going on over there. Flex in Texas. So I suggest you guys go over there to their Instagram account and see how they're designing these enclosures that a lot of people are raving about, even myself. I have a handful actually being built right now as we speak, and I cannot wait to get those inside my room. So shout out to Steven, shout out to Ashley. Thank you so much for doing big things and for sponsoring the trap. And then shout out to Jesse and the Freedom Breeder crew, man. You know, I don't need to say much, but I will say it anyways. Freedom Breeder is the legit way to go when it comes to keeping, you know, your snakes in rack systems or even breeding rodents in rack systems. Since day one, stainless steel racks built in America. Freedom Breeder, baby, the real deal. Shout out to Jesse. Shout out to the whole Freedom Breeder crew. You guys are amazing. And then shout out to Miguel, always evolving pythons, man. I hope you're doing well over there in Mexico, bro. Hope your quarantine's kind of quickening up and get your butt back here in America, get back to business. But make sure you guys go follow my man Miguel. Always doing big things, always inspiring, and just a day one homie right there from the start. So thanks for sponsoring the channel, bro. You're very heavily respected. And then, man, U.S. Art never stops. Please, let's go fight what we got. Let's go do what we got to do and fight for animals with U.S. Art, because they are doing the most. We should be doing the most with them. So please, if you're not too familiar with U.S. Art and you want to get more information, or if you're ready to become a member, go down in the link below, join US ARC and help us fight today, man. It just doesn't stop. And if you guys want to reach out to me personally, man, best way to get a hold of me is on Instagram, 110%. mjexoticscartal with an A, not an E. And then make sure you go follow the podcast's Instagram page on Trap Talk with MJ Podcast. Shout out to all my Twitch viewers out there. Shout out to all my TikTok followers. I'm trying to get my game up on TikTok. It will happen. Don't even trip. And then I would like to say special shout out, heavy love out to my Patreon family. You guys are amazing. Cannot wait to catch up with you guys tomorrow, Sunday. Every Sunday, my Patreon family and I get together and we just talk up. We catch up on the week. I let them know what's to come on the Trap Talk podcasts and just a bunch of insider stuff. You know what I mean? But more importantly, if you out there are looking to get some more information about keeping animals, you know, more than just ball pythons, green trees, boas, you name it, go down and link below. Join the Trap Patreon page. You will not be disappointed. We have a really awesome Discord with a lot of experienced keepers in there. And it's nonstop information. You guys will love it, man. But what up with all my early birds, man? We got some early birds in the house. I know I got some Saturday grinders here. I can't wait. The homie Matt, Evolution Exotics, Trap Patreon Savage right here. What's good, man? Yeah, what's up, Gavin? You're a huge inspiration to me and my entire clown project based around one of your clutches and cutting videos. I'm telling you, man, he's a real one. Gavin's one of the very, very first guys I started watching YouTube videos with. So I'm very excited to have him back on. Definitely have some questions for him. But thanks for being here, Matt. Means a lot. What's up, Aaron? Balls of Paradise. Another Patreon Savage right there. Another Patreon Savage Wiz Constrictor. How you doing, bro? HB Reptiles. God, man, I love it. I love it when I see my Patreon fam all messaging me. We got Angel, another Patreon Savage. Scale Fins and Feathers. What is good? Brandon, what is good, Brandon? Runyon Reptiles, what is good? Pacific Rim Serpents, another Patreon Savage, another Patreon Savage. So shout out to Derek Pides. I will say my man did something huge. I don't want to spill the beans what he did, but he just got his hands on some serious trap history that I'm not gonna spill the beans yet, but just go follow my man Derek Pides and see what he picked up. And he, you know, in the near future is about to show you. But shout out to Derek, you're the man. All right, guys. I don't want to keep my guests waiting because, you know, like I said, man, they're tapping in on the other side of the world right now, man. And I can't wait. I cannot wait because, like I said, these two I've been following from the beginning. Okay. And it's going to be really awesome. The fact that I got both of them coming on here so I could pick both of them to brains. But the first guy we're going to bring on is somebody who I actually became homies with throughout the last 3 years. I've already had him on the show as well. You guys might follow him, might already know him, but it's my man Christian Davison from Dorset Pythons, tapping in from the UK. What's up, Christian?
Hi, MJ. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. How you living?
Yeah, I'm good. I broke up from my job for the summer yesterday, so I got 6 weeks off. So I was really pumped yesterday.
What a way to start your vacation.
Yeah. Cool.
Awesome.
Yeah,
man.
it's good. It's good. It always lets me catch up on things, you know, get on with the snakes and get some more building done and just get on top of things, really. So
now,
it's good.
I mean, I can tell you right now, the fact that you are able to have time to just focus on the animals, does it ever click in your head like, hey, maybe I should do this full time? Or do you feel like I just want to keep it as a hobby? I want to keep it fun? Or
I think that that having a bit of both is the best for me at the moment. I mean, if you know, I was really putting the numbers out with the snakes, then it would be nice to go full time. But I know people that have done it full time, and you always have that thing where there's pressure then, isn't there? You know, I mean, I know that I work part time now anyway, which is nice, and I'm hoping that next year I'll probably drop down a bit more. So I'm do 4 days a week at the moment, so then 3 days, and I'm a teacher, so I get 13 weeks holiday anyway a year. So it works out that I have, including weekends and things, I have 200 days off a year anyway. So it's nice to know that with the day job, all the bills and things are covered, you know. And if I was telling you before we came online that the first clutch I had of the year was a complete bust, you know, just got one snake from it. And so for the 3 weeks it took for the next clutch to hatch, I was thinking, you know, your mind starts to worry, doesn't it? Has something happened with the incubator? Am I not going to get any babies? And I just thought, well, look, if I don't get anything from what's in there, it's not a disaster. You know, I can pay the bills and that kind of thing. So
Right.
it is nice to know that. Luckily, it wasn't like that though. So
Yeah, and
that
then
was
it
good.
was regardless though, you know, the what we were talking about, which I can't wait to bring Gavin in on this right now in a sec, but you know how we were just speaking about you know, your first clutch not being what you wanted it to be, but then wondering, is this going to happen to the next clutch? Like,
Yeah,
is this like a pattern? Like, you know, is it the
yeah.
incubator and stuff like that? But before we get more into that, let's bring the man in himself, man. Gavin Atkins from Balls to You, without a sound check, coming straight out of traffic, right into the show. That's how this man does this. I love it.
We're going to do it raw, so hopefully everyone can hear me, and we've got a good sound check going on.
What's up, Gavin? How you living, my man?
Good to see you both. Good to see you, Christian. Good to see you,
Hi,
MJ.
Gav.
Nice to see everyone in the chat. Nice to see a lot of Patreon members. That's awesome. Yeah, sorry I was a little bit late. Just traffic nightmare getting here, and just but it's all good. You know, it's all good.
Now, did you have today off as well, Gavin, or what was your day-to-day like today?
Yeah, so today's just spending it with the family, you know, and just chilling out, relaxing, that sort of thing. But I had one of my snakes, so he was excited. Dan from Marvelous Balls, so we had a good geek out session this morning for a couple of hours. But every day's work, MJ. Every day's work.
And you want the respect to both of you guys, okay? Because like I said, Gavin, I mean, you don't do the snakes full time. You also have a grind that you do on top of the snakes, right?
Yeah, I think Christian sort of hit it right. It was it's good to have a bit of both, you know.
Right.
I had an opportunity to turn it into a full-time business, and I just decided that, you know, I just wanted to keep it hobby orientated, and just see, you know, feel it out, you know, over this next year. But I had an offer on a clutch earlier this year that I hatched 6 animals, and I got offered 40K for the whole clutch, which if I'd have took that, then obviously as a business, or, you know, I wouldn't have had to work for the rest of the year. But I decided to gracefully turn it down.
Wow.
And hold them back.
Yeah.
Because you got to think about it like this, okay? If someone's offering him 40 grand for those babies, and this is 40 euro. Am I assuming?
No,
40,
pounds.
40,000 pounds. My bad.
40,000 pounds.
Pounds is more than the US dollar. Am I right?
Yeah. So no.
That's
so
about...
it would have been about 60, 70 US dollar thousand. About 60,000 US dollars.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's being offered on the table for snakes that are just coming out of the egg. Imagine what these snakes are going to make when you hold them back and you raise them up. And obviously, this is the picture that Gavin sees. Why he's like, I mean, that's $40,000 though, like, or 40,000 pounds. My bad. That's not peanuts, man. I gotta understand. Like, how long did you process that, or was it a quick answer? Like, I gotta know, Gavin. How did you process this?
So I got sent a message on the Wednesday, and he came initially with £30,000, which I suppose is about $50,000.
Right.
And then I said no straight away. The group is 2 males, 4 females, so it's a good ratio. It's a double het, possible triple het clutch, and I turned it down. He then came at me with 40K, and I said I'd have to think about it. So I thought about it, and that was on the Wednesday. On the Saturday, I then messaged him back saying, thanks for the offer. It was a generous offer, but I'm going to hold on to them.
It's like a gold rush, isn't it, at the moment in the UK? Do you think, Gav?
Yeah, I mean, this was from abroad. This was Christian. This was from so like where Justin and Ozzy send their stuff, and Mark. So yeah, it wasn't from anyone in the UK. It was going outside the UK.
Yeah. Cool.
if I'd have known that, I would have done 2 lots of clutches, you know. But sold one and kept one. But it just, it just makes sense, because if I keep these animals, even as adults, it's a short-term loss for a long-term gain. So those adults can produce me what I need, and then I've still got the parents to sell on at a later date,
Yeah, that's right.
So it's one of those things where, yes, the money would have been nice, but you know what? I must be in it for the passion, not the money.
Yeah. That's one of the things about having another job, is that you can afford to turn those things down, can't you? You're not dependent on paying your mortgage, by selling those animals, so you can keep things, which I think, is a luxury.
Now, Gavin, let me ask you this. I don't know if there's much of a difference, but I'm just curious. If this was more like your second or third year breeding, not your, 10, because you've been doing this for 10 plus years, right? How many years have you been doing this now, Gavin? How many?
Yeah, well, I got my first ball python in 2003.
So okay. So
started breeding around about 2008.
We're going on almost 20 years of this shit. Okay. So now you've already, like, you being so seasoned, and like, your mentality where the holdbacks are, you already knew that. But like, let's just say if this was your second season or your third season, more of a newer career, more of a newer thing for you, would you still keep those holdbacks, or would you take that 40,000?
I think the mentality of the person is key, because that's a lot of money for any stretch, anyone, however long they've been in the hobby or in the industry. It's a lot of money. But when you look at it like that from someone who's just got in, they're thinking, I can buy all these professional racks with that money. I can invest in this project. I can get into that. I can get into this. Where I may look at it from a different angle, and I look at it as, like I said, a short-term loss for a long-term gain. So when you look at it like that, like I said, and we're talking double het, possible triple het projects.
Right.
And trust me, the double het project, whatever you're into, double hets is a hard project.
Right.
It can kick you in the balls. I know guys who have had 53 eggs before they hit a double recessive. Christian does a lot of dreamsicle stuff. He knows sometimes the double recessive can be a real kick in the balls.
Yeah.
No pun intended. So, but you see what I'm saying? And so when you have a double het project, you need 2 males. You need that male, and you need the backup male. And you need the army of females. So 3 to 4 females to give you any sort of chance, So it just made sense just to keep it. And I think as someone getting in, they may look at that and think, you know what, I could do a lot with that money, buy new racks, equipment, investing in other projects, buying other animals. So I could have done a lot, but
yeah,
I think it is tempting when you first start, the first clutches you hatch with, decent animals that are worth big money. It is like, I know that I sold things at the beginning, and then you see the money and that kind of thing. Like Gav says, you want to upscale, upgrade racks and things. And then, I mean, a lot of things you sell, you kind of regret it. You kind of wish you'd kept more things. But yeah, I think the longer you're in it, that you get more used to the numbers and things. Like if I hatch a nice clutch, in my head I might think that's worth 10 or 12k or whatever, but it doesn't really mean anything, because I'll probably hold them all back anyway. So it's, but eventually down the line I will start selling some. So
yeah, Christian likes to hold his back. It's very difficult to get animals out of Christian.
Yeah, I do. I've got
those are always the breeders. Those are always the breeders who are ahead of the game, or the ones who are almost impossible to get a snake from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because all they're doing is they keep reinvesting in themselves, and like, I mean, nobody should be your best customer than yourself. Like, you should be your best customer. You know what I mean? Because only you know the potential. I mean, sure, other people who are watching know the potential, but for instance, Gavin, like you have a strong belief in these double, triple het projects that you're investing in, because you know that that you started it from scratch. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like, I don't, even $40,000, it just doesn't really make sense to hand all that hard work over to somebody else. You know what I mean? Because you're literally, you're selling a project for 40K, which in reality, that 40K ain't going to be shit once that thing, once those snakes start coming out. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And if you look at it like this, I mean, this was the Sunset Pied Ultramal project.
Wow.
So sunsets, on average, a visual sunset, you're going between 8 to 10K.
Crazy.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you try and hit an ultramal pied is probably going for between 2 and 3K. And then we've got the we've got the Sunset Pied project, which no one's really hit yet. And we're really excited to see what the Sunset Pied looks like. And that could be a 15K to 20K animal. Yeah. We know clown pieds are roughly between 8 to 10K, there or thereabouts. So all of a sudden, when you start thinking that you could hit a Sunset Ultramal pied, you know, it just blows my mind. And I just think, you know what, you could do so much more, because I've always talked about, you know, making your own hets, making your own het army, you know, building up your selection, building up your collection, make sure it's solid from the ground up. And hets is a fantastic way of doing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
What I mean, I'll tell you what I have a problem doing with. And it's not really a problem. I mean, I will at one point when space becomes an issue, but like I have a hard problem selling a het female, especially like a really nice looking. You know, you see those hets that could be visual, but they're not, and you're just like, dude, this is like beyond 100% het. This is it, you know. But like, you know, you can't sell it as a visual, meaning you can't put a visual price tag on it. So it's almost nearly. It doesn't make any sense to even sell that. Like, why even sell that het female when in reality, you know, it costs you, I don't know how much to just raise that thing yourself and put that thing over a pile of eggs. You know what I mean? And you know, but then I think at some point you do got to get practical. You just can't hold back every single het, right?
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, Gav, if you, you know, I do hold a lot of stuff back. There has to be a balance, doesn't there? I read something the other day, someone was saying about, Justin was saying a big mistake people make is holding too much stuff back, and I start thinking that's me. And you know, and you end up not getting new stuff in. You know, you should. There's got to be a balance, hasn't there, where you sell stuff and get other projects in and things like that. So
yeah, I mean, I completely agree, and I think the way I look at it is, you know, I've sold stuff I regret. I keep stuff for too long. Like I've just recently sold my last just normal het clown female, but I refused for so long to let her go because I've got some powerful clown males that I can put to her to produce some stuff. But I can produce but that's only for selling value, if that makes sense. It's not going to increase my collection. So then I look at it and I think, okay, well, but from that clutch that I've kind of just sold, I can then take that money and go and buy something else.
Right.
So it's very difficult to look at it because we're keepers, we're hobbyist breeders. You know, like you said, we're not in it for the money, but I love buying snakes. And all I want is my collection to sustain itself. And it does. And that for me is key. As long as it can sustain itself, that's fine. So it's always difficult to find what to keep and what to sell. But for example, I was going to do a pairing this season. I wanted to get the blackhead into the Ultramal project, well, the Ultramal Pied project. And I was thinking a way I could do this. And whichever way I looked at my pairings, I couldn't do it. So I thought, okay, that's fine. So I've got an Ultramal Pied male. And I thought, there was no way I could do it. I've got 2 blackhead females, but they were sort of taken up. And again, space is a commodity. I don't have 10 of blackheads, 10 pieds, 10 clowns, 10 of this, 10 of that. It's kind of a select few. So I saw Justin was selling a blackhead, 100% het ultramel, posset pied, but with strong, with a ringer.
Yeah.
Real strong pied markers. And Justin was convinced, or is convinced, it'll prove out het pied. So I thought, you know what? Rather than make that, I can buy that. So it kind of goes into what you said, Christian, where you go, you know, you want to make stuff to hold back, but then you've got to know when's the best time to sell and the best time to buy. And it's very difficult. It's very difficult at the moment, you know, because the market's strong here in the UK. I spoke about this earlier on in the year with the Patreon and the Discord members. You know, I said to them, watch the UK market. You know, last year was strong because of COVID. This year we're coming out of Brexit. We're not going to be able to import animals like we used to. You know, Christian, you and me both know we could hop on a ferry, get over to Europe and pick up a snake.
Yeah.
Can't be done anymore. No. So now the UK market is just rocketed to almost to US level.
Absolutely, yeah, it's crazy.
Which is good, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's good to hear. I mean, but let me ask you this though. Do you feel like with it rocketing, right? Like with that coming in effect, without you being able just to go over to the ferry and bring a snake over, do you feel like at some point that's going to become an issue for the market, or do you feel like that's going to keep the market stronger where it can be?
I've got a good analogy, Christian. Do you want to do this?
No, go on. I'll listen.
So the way I look at it is, for example, we've always kind of been on the lower spectrum when we're selling our animals, like the value of what they're worth. So, for example, Aussie would put up an orange dream female for 3K. Breeder female, just an orange dream, breeder female, 3K. And it would go like that. Now, if we put that up over here, it wouldn't sell. You'd struggle to sell a breeder female for 3K, as in orange dream female. But now, you can't get them.
No.
So straight away, if you can't get them, the supply and demand thing is kicking in. There's a lot of demand and not enough supply.
Yeah.
So I just feel we're kind of coming up to the US level where I feel that the breeder females should be on par, and we're kind of a lot of people would just go to Europe and go, well, do you know what? I can get that cheaper in Europe than I can in the UK. That's fine. But now they can't. So it's kind of helping us here in the UK to sort of level off a little bit and get a bit of our investment back that we've been, you know, time and effort and all that sort of stuff, which, you know, is what it's all about. You want to be able to reinvest in your collection. And we've always been here in the UK kind of at the bottom end of the spectrum for pricing. So it's really interesting at the moment, really interesting. Not saying it's going to stay that way forever, but I think it's going to be, it's about time we had a little bit, you know, back, if you like.
Yeah. I mean, I completely agree, Gav, with what you said, that you've got that situation where there's supply and demand, but I also see a few more people coming into the market in the UK who are more business minded. You know, they're a bit more like we've probably always said in the UK, it's a hobby. You know, there's lots of hobbyists, and with that hobby mentality, there's always been a limit on what people will pay. Right. Whereas in the States, it's much more of a business. Lots more people have big facilities, and people are happier to invest a lot more, aren't they? But I see people over here. I know some of them are on your Patreon. You know, I chat to some of them, and they're people that come in. They're interested in the snakes. They like the snakes, but they have money, and they see the business side of it as attractive to them as well. So I think that's kind of nice to see as well. You know, that it's catching up with the States on that front as well.
Yeah, you're 100% right. The one thing we had back in the day was we had a lot of pay to play people. So people would invest money who wasn't interested in snakes as such. They just wanted an investment where they could get their money back.
Right.
And what we had was a lot of people who wasn't as passionate, but they had the money. And then you'd have these people who were passionate who couldn't afford to get in because it was just too much money. And we're talking like when Mojaves were like 4K and, you know, pastels were 4K and, you know, it's a lot of money. But now what we're seeing is that people are getting into the hobby who have got a passion for it and they're looking at making it into a business. Now, the one thing that differs from here to the US and Canada is that in the US and Canada, you can look at it from an agricultural, it can become an agricultural business. Yeah.
Right.
Breeding snakes to sell. Over here, people, you know, there's people over here who do it successfully as a business and it can be done. But back in the day, there was a lot of pyramid selling where it'd be like, come here, you breed these snakes, you'll make a lot of money. You'll get double your investment. And of course, they get into it, couldn't breed snakes, got their fingers burned, and got out of it, which caused a crash in the market because people then would just sell their animals just to try and get any money back. When now what we're doing is we're kind of teaching people to be responsible, be professional, brand themselves. You know, I talk a lot on the Patreon when we talk about doing, you know, branding, how you put yourself across on social media. You know, you use your Instagram as a portfolio, you know, post stuff, even if it's a new rack or something you've brought in, a new substrate you want to try. Your Instagram is your portfolio as a business platform to build and show people who you are, to showcase the world who you are and what you represent. Because there's not, you know, and this is the thing, you can make money from it. You can. Will everyone make money and become millionaires? No. You've got to put in the time. You've got to put in the effort. You've got to market yourself correctly. You've got to be professional, be patient, and, you know, persevere. And you've got to be. People want now. They're not just buying a snake. They're buying the breeder. They're buying the knowledge. They're buying the service. They're buying that. And that's key as well. So if we can educate people here in the UK to represent like they do in America and in Canada, if we can teach them the right way, you know, baby steps, then they're going to be in this hobby / industry for a long time. And it's called longevity. I had Marcus Jane on, Mark Mendek on the Patreon, and we were talking with the Discord, and we were talking about longevity within the hobby, within the community. And, you know, we had Ozzy on talking about investments, and then, you know, so when we look at everything, we've got to build everything's a jigsaw, and you've got to put it together. You can't have fantastic snakes if you're not a people person. You know, you're not going to sell. People aren't going to want to buy from you. They'd rather go elsewhere. People aren't going to buy from you if you've got a 10 grand snake if they don't know who you are.
No,
You've got to build those building blocks.
So I would love to capitalize on this, Gavin, because this will prove the point, everything we're talking about here, because you got to understand the reason why I came into this with a business mindset, not only because I come from a business background, but because of the accounts I was following. People hear me all the time, Miguel, you, Gavin, these people I were following from the beginning literally set the example. So what I mean by this is, Gavin, everything you've been doing for, like, I don't know, the last 4 going on 5 years since I've been following you has obviously had such an effect where it just trickles down. You know what I mean? I'm not the only one who says I've learned so much shit from Gavin. Like, so many people come to me and say, dude, I've learned so much fucking shit from Gavin. And this is going on for like years and years now. So because there's people out there like yourself, Gavin, and you gotta understand, UK, I mean, UK is it's big, but it's not on the American like level. You know what I mean? Which the goal is to get there. But from what I've seen from you, Gavin, I've always felt that American level coming from your shit. Like I always felt like you were on the same level as Americans were. But I feel like that example you've been setting for years and years, that since I've been following you, I feel like that's the kind of shit that this hobby is going to really thrive from. And that's why, and there's more now, like there's obviously more, you know, people out there putting out legit information like consistently. And the thing with you, Gavin, is you've been so consistent and on point with your shit. So I feel like a lot of it has, you know, you got to give yourself credit for that, dude, straight up.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I mean, Christian is, so
Christian too.
I hear stuff about Christian, and Christian is a people person. He markets himself very well. He's transparent. You know, if people have had a problem, I know they would go to Christian and go, Christian, I've got this problem, and you would go, I'll sort it. Yeah. Because that's how you've got to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And that's the difference. And people like me and you, Christian, where we've got to help people recognize, like I said, customer service, quality of animals as well. You know, they're buying not only the snake, but they're also buying us as breeders.
Yeah. And I think that's it's like a sort of the two go hand in hand, don't they? If you are lucky enough to get a good reception from your Instagram and things like that, and you get followers and things, that does help with the sales. But then you have that responsibility, don't you? That you know, you're kind of up there, aren't you? And you have to treat people well. I mean, not that, you know, that's the only reason, but I think you're that kind of person, or you're not. But you know, you have a reputation, don't you, to sort of to uphold, and it's just how you treat people, how you want to be treated, don't you? And
100%. And when I was over in the States, and when I was over in Canada, it certainly gave me an insight into how things are done over the seas, and which isn't wrong. It isn't, you know, anywhere, you know, but we look at things, and like I said, for me, my reputation's worth more than a snake. So if someone's got a problem with a snake that I've sold them, I'll solve that. It isn't a problem. You know, it's just not worth the argument. You know what? If I've missold you a snake and it's not het clown or it's the wrong sex, I'll sort that, because we all make mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's acknowledging that and going, that's fine. I'll put my hand up. No one's perfect, but we can sort it. And that's the difference with people like us. And I've seen so many people come and go over the years. You know, they've come in, and they've just gone. So longevity is key. You know, it's key. And the only way you're going to have longevity in this is by being you. You've got to be you, being honest, open, up front, transparent, quality animals, customer service, you know, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, because I'm going to say right now, Christian, you and I go back too. You know, like what? At least the whole time I've been doing this, you and I have,
for sure, yeah,
we've had a friendship. And I'm telling you right now, the way Christian inspires me is on a level where he doesn't put himself out. He puts his work out there, but Christian's not on his stories putting him face out there like, hey guys, you know what I mean? Which a lot of people, like, that's Gavin. Gavin does that on his YouTube, right? So you have two different styles of keepers here, but literally both on the same level of consistency and passion. And if you reach out to Christian, you talk to Christian, you're going to see how fucking nice of a guy this guy is. He's amazing. You know what I mean? But, you know, like Gavin's somebody who puts a platform out there on YouTube. Like he's somebody who's trying to put his information out there. And what I'm saying is these are just two different levels of breeders, which no matter what level you're at, like the work shows for itself. Like you guys both have work that's been proven that, you know, you put in patience and the time everything else comes with it. When I say everything, I mean customers, fucking, your sales, like it's stuff that just doesn't happen within your first year of keeping reptiles. Like you literally have to make a legit name for yourself. And, just because you're hatching out shit doesn't mean you're going to be selling a bunch of shit. It just doesn't work like that.
Yeah. I mean, Christian's got a fantastic platform. He does his thing. And that's something I tell people. People come to me and go, "Oh, I want to start a YouTube channel." The first thing I say is, "Don't."
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's a lot of people. They seem to think that's the first thing to do. I know.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
I see why people think that, but you're a natural, Gav. I mean, I have friends that are critical. They like to, they'll rip into people, but they say Gav is a natural at doing that, and I completely agree.
I think at the end of the day, I won't be a Miguel. I won't be a Justin. I'm not an Aussie. I'm not a Christian. I'm not an MJ. I'm me. And this is where people have got to do, they've got to do themselves. And, you've got to get a good platform built, whether it be, you need to build a solid platform. And that's why I say Instagram is a solid platform, because it's a good for portfolio, showing your snakes, showing your collection, showing the improvements, posting little things. It's very positive. It's a portfolio, the best way to say. And you can do just as well on a portfolio platform like Instagram as you can on YouTube. My daughter watches some YouTube stuff, and she's 9, and I look at the people she's watching, and they've got like 15 million subscribers, and they've had like 35 million views, and I think, wow. But then when I look at the videos, that's just not me. And I don't do YouTube to my whole thing with YouTube was to try and help people and reach out and show people. As over the years, it's become that platform where people have said to me, "What are you hatching?" And I just say, "You know what? Just subscribe to my channel and you will see everything that I hatch." And again, you've got to do you. And Christian's built up a fantastic platform for himself. I don't know regarding Facebook, because I'm not on Facebook. I mean, Facebook, sorry. But
No,
regarding Instagram, Christian's doing a fantastic job, and that just goes to show you don't need a YouTube channel. You've just got to be you. You don't have to jump in front of the camera. I'm dyslexic, so it's easy for me to stand in front of a camera and try and show someone something, as opposed to go, writing a book isn't for me. I'll draw you pictures, but I won't write a book. But that's me, you've got to do you.
100%. 100%. And I'm going to say real quick, man, Christian does a great job of just letting the animal speak for himself. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many people out there who like, I need to get a sick logo, and nothing wrong with this, by the way, because it's cool. But brand logo, sticker swap, all this shit. But like at the end of the day, what are you working with? Like there comes a time and point where you want to put yourself out there, but really, what are you doing this for? Is it for you? Is it for your animals? You know what I mean? Like, are you building the platform for your animals, or are you building the platform to become a YouTube star? Like, that's what you need to figure out. You know what I mean? Christian hasn't need to put his face out on the story. You know what I mean? Like, go ahead.
No, exactly that. And I want to point out that Christian, everything Christian does, you can see is very particular, very,
clean,
which is fantastic.
Clean.
He won't take a picture of a snake and go, "I'll post that."
No.
He's probably taking 5 to 10 pictures going, "No, don't like that. Don't like that."
Yeah,
And that is key, because when you take a picture of a snake, like MJ, you do your videos where you pass the snake in front of your phone,
right?
Yeah. And that's your little thing, and that's really good. And with Christian, he's looking at the headshots. He's making sure that it doesn't take much for you to take multiple pictures and pick the best one and post it. And that's what it's important, and that's why Christian has built a fantastic platform. You know, he shows it in the right light. You know, his lighting sorted. It's fantastic, you know, and that's how a portfolio platform should be.
I agree 100%.
Absolutely.
100%.
I said before, you need, I mean, Instagram is photos, isn't it? It's photo based. So you need to get some lighting, and, you know, you don't want a sort of a dingy photo. I mean, I haven't posted as much as I have sometimes, you know, this year. I've kind of slacked off a bit, and I think sometimes, I don't know if you think this, Gav, but there's a lot of, sometimes this is wrong, but I think, you know, you get a bit, you what should I post? And then you feel a bit of pressure, you know, and I sometimes think maybe people are put off because, you know, there are people out there, obviously, that every snake they have is like a $5,000 snake, you know, and but I mean, I don't, you know, you don't need that. I think I built my account just taking nice photos of just the snakes I had, whether it was an ivory or, you know, the most likes I ever had was for a really high white pied, which most of us as breeders wouldn't really want, you know, but it, you know, good photos. I also think if you're posting regularly and you're taking care, and maybe whatever you write in the comments, then I think people will follow you because they see the passion. You know, they can see that through what you're doing. It doesn't have to be that you have a rack full of, you know, the top notch snakes.
And that's exactly that. So like you'll see me post something like the other day I posted a video of a pastel ultramal. Now a lot of people hate on pastel. It was pastel. But listen, you get pastel in the right combo, it's going to knock your socks off. And all I did was post a little video or a picture of a pastel ultramal. But it's simple, but it's powerful, you know. And then I may post a picture of a clown pied that I produced. That's you know, an up there snake. But I still find time to post stuff because, for me, I was inspired. I'm inspired every day by what people post and the stuff that they produce.
Same
you
here.
know, I'm inspired by everyone, and it doesn't have to be ball pythons. Like I was watching one of Chandler's wildlife videos last night, and I was just going nuts. You know, he's there, he's all over the place, and he's inspiring. I get inspired with stuff like that. So I like to see from both, you know, all ends of the spectrum, whether it be, you know, someone just hatching their first pastel to someone making something crazy and nuts like Justin or Ozzy or Mark. You know, it's about sharing, because you've got to understand, we don't just have ball python people that follow us. We also have regular day people who don't own exotic animals.
Absolutely, yeah.
We're being watched, I'm telling you.
And this is why I say to people, you know, look, we know when we feed a snake what happens, yeah? But that 5-year-old or that 6-year-old that's looking on Instagram, or not that young, but you know what I'm saying, like people who don't know what goes on, all they're seeing is this cute rat being constricted by a snake. And it kind of just doesn't do us the justice we deserve, you know?
Yeah.
And this is, again, when you're posting stuff, you know, take your time, think about it, think about who's going to see that picture, you know, think how it looks from outside of the community. And we want to put bums on seats, you know, we want to bring new people into the hobby, passionate people. And the only way we're going to do that is by showing what we do regarding, you know, the quality, the beautiful looking animals, the way we present them on a picture. You know, I went and I had one of my wisdom tooth out the other day, and I'm there showing the dentist and his assistant. I'm going, look at these snakes, look at these, look at these, isn't these beautiful? And they're like, because all of a sudden they think, oh, snakes, ooh. But I go, look at this, and they go, wow.
Oh yeah, you know, I love somebody who says, eek, ugh, snake, gross, slimy. I'm like, okay, come here, let me show you something, especially a chick, right? And then they just like then they grab your phone. I love it when they grab your phone and they just go, oh my god, and they just start looking. Oh, it's one of the best things ever, you know, because all it is this lack of knowledge. You know, people just don't know, and it's, you know, it just, I will tell you right now, 8 out of 10 people, if you start talking to them and show them your snakes, that their guard just goes down and they go, wow, okay, let me, and then they see and their eyes light up. And then there's some people out there who just blatantly just don't like snakes. Like, it's just like me and spiders. I don't wish spiders would disappear. Just don't bring a spider to me. You know what I mean? I don't want a spider next to me. That's just how I am personally. You know what I mean? So I get how there's people out there who just don't want to look at snakes. And, you know, but there's other people out there who just don't know better. They just know that their friend or aunt or grandma hates them, so they're going to hate them too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I have people that follow me and like friends of my wife's, you know, and I might think, oh, they follow me, and then, you know, I know them and I'll send them a picture of something and I'm like, look at this one I hatched, and they're like, I actually don't, you know, they're like, don't send me videos of them because I don't like snakes, but they follow, you know, because I think they like the colors and things like that, you know. So
yeah.
And, you know, and that's one thing, you know, if we can get, and this is, again, I talk about this a lot, supporting US ARC, because I tell you now, if US ARC, if the government in the States succeed and US ARC fail, which they won't, we won't fail. But if governments around the world are going to copy what's going on in the States, and that's only going to land in our lab. So if we can kind of police ourselves and present ourselves more professional, if we can be more, you know, as breeders, if we can be more conscious about what we're posting, and we're not posting that cute rat being suffocated by that dangerous snake.
Yeah, right.
You know, it's going to help. It's going to help. You know, it's going to help.
That's like the PETA alert right there. Like, you know, that's kind of like the stuff PETA kind of like lives off of, is like live feedings and stuff like that, which, you know, in the beginning, I posted live feedings, which I wasn't really thinking in the beginning. I feel like that's still a problem. A lot of people come into this and, oh, wow, look at this live feeding video, got over 100 likes. I'm going to do this again, you know, but really, like, as you progress into this, and as you notice that, hey, frozen thaw is a way safer bet anyways than live. You know what I mean? Like, or you just start to notice that it's just not necessary to put, like, you know, Mother Nature that type of shit out there. Because it's already all out there. Like, there's, you know, what is it, Metal by Nature, and there's already all these crazy fucking intense stuff out there. Like, what are you doing differently? Okay, you're showing a rat get killed by a snake. It's fucking all over the place. Like, dude, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, so I get it. It gets old, and especially if you don't already have, like, well, I can tell you right now, anyone who has a legit respectable following out there does not post live feedings. I'll tell you that right now.
If you want educational, so we understand animals kill animals in the wild, and you can watch that on TV on the Discovery Channel. Right. That's an educational thing. But it's when people are posting stuff that you kind of, you know, I'm not attacking them. I'm just saying, look, just think before you post stuff that there's people out there who will take that footage, take that picture, and use it against us. Yeah, you know, that's what it is.
I think in the UK we are quite used to sort of, we're more heavily legislated than the US. Is the impression I get, and Gav and I both know that, you know, it's a grey area, but the idea of live feeding over here is kind of frowned on, and you know, it's so, you know, we're sure. Yeah, whereas I think in the States, you know, live feeding is perfectly legal, and so people that get into the hobby, they obviously think, oh, this is legal, you know, this is fine, and you know, I'll just, you know, put some videos out there. But like you've both said, it's not something that you know, people necessarily need to see.
You'll also, like, you know, what helped me is like becoming friends with people like Forrest and Steven, you know what I mean? And Forrest was like, dude, he's like, you know, he actually encouraged me, don't post live fucking, it's just not necessary. And some people just need to hear it from somebody else, like, or hear it from someone they look up to. And if it's one thing that Forrest used to always tell me is how much I remind him of a like 10-year earlier version of him. You know what I mean? Because he had a lot more fucking, you know, he has a lot more career than I did. This, you know, but obviously, like, he had learned a lot. So, but at the end of the day, it's like, if we're trying to attract more people to this and non-snake people, fucking feeding videos are not the answer. You know what I mean? Like, that's the one thing that's going to shove people away or just make it look like you're just a sicko. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you do it in an educational process, like you're showing someone how to assist feed, you know, obviously you're going to have to put the prey there. You're going to show people. If you're showing people how you feed frozen thawed, that again is educational. But what we need to get away from is the only way we're gonna sort of stop people like Peter and all that sort of. You got like
that's my son who is 4 and he's downstairs.
Henry,
let's go. You know,
Henry's turned the light off.
he figured it out. He
Bless
figured
him.
it out.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just one of those things. I just think, you know, if we can just educate people and just help people, you know, we've all posted pictures we wish we hadn't, and we go, shouldn't have done that.
Can you come and get him? I'm going to get him removed.
He's off, that's it.
Antisocial behaviour.
Antisocial behaviour. Bless him.
Yeah.
It's all good. It's all good.
The rescue pies here.
Yeah, so I mean, I could tell you though, man. I mean, it's, if you do start up in this posting animals, and then, you know, you start to meet people, like I said, and you're the one posting live feedings, you know, somebody will tell you eventually, like, that's not it. You know what I mean? So, and with all due respect, I mean, listen, it's not that you can't, you know, you shouldn't enjoy, like, you know, the circle of life. It's just something that should be done. It's kind of like people who hold venomous snakes. You know what I mean? Like, that's cool. You want to hold a venomous snake, that's fine. Just don't put it on the fucking internet for other people to see, because it's just really like, if that's your thing, that's your thing. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to shove it in other people's faces, type of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think, you know, with hots or with venomous, I think, you know, it's very difficult because people like Tyler, Nolan, isn't it? Yeah, and Chandler, and, you know, those guys, they can read their animals. It's their animal, they can read it. Now, the other guy, Viper Keeper, I don't know if anyone watches Viper Keeper on YouTube. He's very, very much, you know, he deals with venomous. I never ever see him handle venomous, and there's always, you know, please don't do this at home. The start of his videos, you know, we just got to educate. We've got to educate people, you know, and I think the more we can get, the more community we can get educational, you know. Don't post these sort of videos, or be careful, or if you're going to post that video, you know, put a disclaimer in it, you know, make sure, you know, this is my animal, I know how it works. You know, you can't just go and pick up a king cobra and go and start free handling it, you know.
Well, here's my problem with that, Gavin, because, you know, I'm friends with fucking Chandler, I'm friends with Tyler, I have homies that handle venomous snakes. But at the end of the day, the reason why I don't really feel like it's a good thing, or why I got rid of my rattlesnake, because, dude, I could not keep my hands off my rattlesnake. I knew how calm it was, and I would still pick it up, and my wife would catch me, and it was just always a fucking shit show, man. But at the end of the day, no matter how comfortable or how much of a professional I think I am, there's going to be some fucking jackass out there who has a little bit of money or has an opportunity to get a rattlesnake. And if he sees you do it, he's going to be like, well, if this fucking guy can do it, why can't I do it? And that's how it always happens. And then it leads to someone who gets comfortable doing it, and now they're the next Tyler Nolan in their head. Now they're fucking, yes, I found my thing. I am a venomous handler. And that's the thing I have a problem with, because it's not meant for everybody. It's like fucking riding Harleys or some shit, motorcycles. It's not meant for everybody. Like, you know, people will eat, like my dad. My dad fucking has a CBR 1000. He's fucking 60 years old, rides a street bike and loves it. No, and I'm like, dude, you're gonna fucking die, bro. Like, and he's like, this is what I love to do. This is my
Your
thing.
dad's got a blade.
Huh?
Your dad's got a blade, CBR thing.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. A 2003. It's all rep sold out. Like, it's all tricked out, dude. Like, he's the reason why I race motocross, all this shit. But anyways, he's just that guy. Tyler Nolan's that guy. And Tyler Nolan's an extremist. You know what I mean? Like, he holds rattlesnakes because it does that thing to his heart where fucking like, yeah, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I just don't feel like, the way we work with animals isn't the same way a lot of these venomous handlers work with these animals. It's just more of a fucking rush. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where for us, like, it's not about, it's more the educational purpose for us. At least for me, you know what I mean? I rather set the right example and not make any more Tyler Nolans. There could only be one Tyler Nolan. There can only be one Chandler. You know what I mean? Like, let that person be that person. Don't try to duplicate it and be something you're not. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally agree. Totally agree.
But
I have I was going to say, MJ, you've got those beaded lizards.
Oh yeah, man. Woo.
They're cool.
I don't know how that happened. I mean, I do know how it happened, but I mean, I just as I've always had a passion for beaded lizards, and I've followed Christian because he's worked with them and works with them and whatnot. But yeah, I was able to get my hands on a group. And yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Those things are amazing. Do you have any lizards or anything, Gavin, or do you just have snakes?
Yeah, I've got a very dangerous, I can't say it too loud, but it's a Madagascan giant day gecko, but I can't tell too many people because it's a dangerous animal.
They're cool.
Yeah,
I've
got
had
a Madagascan giant day gecko.
Oh,
So that's how badass I am. I don't have all these venomous lizards.
You've got the muscles, Gav. You don't need the lizards.
I was gonna say, yeah. I think you got the muscles, Gavin. So you don't really need any crazy lizards.
Yeah, I mean, I going back to what you were saying about handling them. Go on, Gav.
No, my reflexes ain't what they used to be, Christian. So trust me, I'd just be. I'd be in and out of the ER room all the time.
Yeah, I would. I mean, I've got the lizards, but I would never. I mean, I don't ever intend really for the ball pythons to bite me, but we all know that happens when you're feeding them and stuff like that. And
right.
So yeah, I mean, venomous snakes. I mean, the lizards are, I think, that bit slower, and they're that a little bit more predictable.
I don't know, man, dude. They have like. Well, first off, you could walk in and one could look dead. I had one on its complete back.
Yeah, they do that. Yeah.
It was like this, and I was like, you're shitting me. I was like, I just got this thing, and it was in its water bowl on its back. And so, as I open it, I open the thing, and I'm literally like gonna just kind of shake the water bowl. It goes. And it flips on it, and like literally, it was the scariest thing, dude. These things go from 0 to 1,000.
Yeah, they can swing around. Yeah,
they swing around, but then they go back to just being like lazy. Like it's like, I don't think I've worked with them long enough either. Too, Christian, I feel like you probably have a better grasp for them. And because the two beaded eyes I had prior to the group I picked up. They're younger, so I don't pick them up. Like I don't mess with them. I let them do their thing. But when the guy dropped over that breeder group, he was like, "Oh, this is how you pick them up," and he was picking them all up. And I was like, there's definitely a thing where if you get them on your hand, they're just like they're chilling.
Yeah,
they really chill out once you get them up. But it's that initial pickup. It's like, man, because you can pick them up from a certain part of the tail, and their tail is really girthy and strong, so it's not going to fall off or anything. But still, man, like you put your thumb out or anything like that. Dude, that's how they get you. I hear by the fingers. I hear the fingers is, and I don't know if you heard about a beaded lizard bite, Gavin, but it's like slamming your finger into a car door and like that initial beating pain, but for like days. Like and it just doesn't go away. I heard it's really bad.
Yeah, I mean, I've never experienced it, obviously, and but I can imagine, they're not to be messed with, and I think something like that, if they are proper chilled, you can sometimes get to displacement. It's like, you know, certain king cobras can be real chilled. You know, again, Chandler's got Kevin, and he's really, but he's still watching him. He's still not dropping his guard. You know, he's still on point. He's still a king cobra at the end of the day, and that's nuts. And talking about king cobras, and again, just having that ability to read animals. Dave Kaufman, last time we were together over in Canada, he said, "Do you want to come to India and go searching for cobras?" I was like, "Yeah, let's do it. Let's go to India and let's go and get some wild king cobras." And I was going to do it. But then COVID hit, and we were going to go in April. COVID hit, and it was nuts. But then I look back and I think, what the was I? You know, these are wild animals, and I've never had any venomous, you know, keeping or anything like that. Yeah.
I have friends, Gavin, that like my friends Andrew and Steven, like they want to plan a trip to Indonesia. And like, here's the thing, like, you know, I feel like you almost get pressured into like being a herper if you keep herps. Like, oh, you like, I get asked all the time, you go look for rattlesnakes, and like I'm down to go do it, but I'm not like a herper. You know what I mean? But I wouldn't mind seeing these animals in the wild. Yeah. But you got to understand, you're dipping into their territory. Like, think about how dense, fucking goddamn humid and swampy the fucking jungles are in goddamn Indonesia. You know what I mean? Or like, it's just like, it's a mission. I hope you understand what you're getting yourself into. Shout out to my boy Ari, but I got this Boland's Serpents in the Clouds book, which is a book, Boland's Python research book, where he went to go look at Boland's pythons in the wild. And this guy got malaria, like he got sick, like he got really like almost died just for this experience. So like, I don't, you know, maybe it was a good thing that you got to process this, Gavin. Who knows? I don't know.
Oh yeah, definitely. And Dave, you know, Dave's one. And you think, oh, I'd love to go and see them in the wild, but like you said, you're not thinking about what else is out there.
Right.
You know, the small insects are mostly the dangerous ones that you've got to look out for. You know, it's, you know, you can't just go and, you know, think about drinking water. You've got to be careful where you're drinking the water, because there could be, you know, all sorts of, you know, poisonous and dangerous animals around that watering hole, you know. So there's so much to consider. And I'm no Steve Irwin by no stretch of the imagination, but I was just buzzing about this idea of going in search for cobras, not going in search for corn snakes, you know, or going somewhere to look for, you know,
day geckos,
standard bluebrids, day geckos, or, you know, crested geckos, whatever. No, I was going to go for, you know, Indian monocle cobras and forest cobras and all that sort of stuff, you know, and I'm going for the baddest stuff out there, you know, but I don't know. It was good. It was good while the thought was there, you know. Who knows? Watch his channel. We might still do.
Gavin, I want to kind of talk about, you know, because me and Christian went during sound check, we were talking about his first clutch, and he told me he had a little bit of concerns because the first clutch just wasn't, you know, Dorset Python standard type stuff, right? It was kind of like, what is this, right? So concerns went into the second clutch. Second clutch was fine, but in your experience, Gavin, how often are you dealing with weak clutches, or are you able to spot out when a weak clutch is coming, or are there any things that you could maybe enlighten us with on how we could be wary about laying a weak clutch or whatnot?
Okay. There's so many factors, and I know this is crazy because people will say, oh, it's easy to breed ball pythons. Well, if it was easy, everyone would be doing it and it'd be successful. However, over the years, what I have noticed is there's certain trigger points which will give you either slugs, weak embryos, which will obviously result into the clutch going bad. And the thing I noticed over the years, being on the forums and this, that, and the other, everyone would blame incubation. It's an incubation problem. It's incubation. And you're like, well, hang on a minute. You've only had 1 or 2 snakes in that 8-egg clutch be deformed. How can that be an incubation problem? It can't be. If you put 8 potatoes in the oven and whack it up to 200 degrees Celsius, all 8 are going to get burned.
Hmm.
There isn't going to be 1 or 2. All are going to be burned. So if you think about your incubation like that, you know, if anyone that's listening, you know, if you think about incubation like that, if you've got a problem with your incubator, all the clutch or clutches within the incubator, you're going to have issues with. So, okay, so let's break it down. Slugs. A female's going to lay slugs. It's either too warm, i.e. the temperatures are too high, so it's killed the sperm. The male is shooting blanks, hence why you need a backup male if you can get one. So that's why you tend to get slugs. Temperatures and male shooting blanks, or not enough sperm from the male. If we look at eggs with weak veins or weak embryos that die during incubation, then that's down to the food. So when a female, when you're starting to breed your female and you're feeding your female, food is key, because those nutrients and everything, the goodness, the protein, the calcium that's within the food is going to go on to build the follicles, which then turn into the embryo status, which then get fertilized. So if you get a good clutch of eggs, then the male's done his job. You've got the temperatures bang on. You put them eggs in the incubator, and all of a sudden, 1 or 2 starts to die. That normally, I feel, can be down to get enough nutrients, whether the embryo just didn't get the right nutrients. So that can be, like, for me, what I've seen,
I agree. Yeah.
You know, is a food thing.
Yeah. I was chatting to a guy,
You know, and I feed.
I was just saying, I was chatting to a lizard guy, a breeder over in Holland, Hammerhead Reptiles. He is on Instagram, breeds a lot of Uromastics, and he was talking about how.
Love Uromastic.
Yeah, yeah, me too. That when they go full term and they don't come out the egg, he feels it's the condition of the female, you know, and it is that, like what you've just said. And I think that is the case, that I think the female that laid the clutch that just was no good, she wasn't huge, not a great feeder. You know, you start pairing them thinking that, you know, she might kick in, start feeding more. And I thought, you know, she's not going to go. And then she did lay a clutch, which really surprised me. But it's one of those things, it probably wasn't meant to be, because just, you know, she just wasn't, you know, she just in that condition to really go. So
here's the thing, Christian. Do you feed rats or African soft-furred rats?
Oh, here we go. I was
probably
waiting for this one.
Yeah, I mean, I probably feed, I'd say 80, maybe 90% rats.
Okay, so let's do a diagnostic on this female then that didn't lay the clutch. Was she what was she eating? Was she eating rats or Maltese? Or
I think actually I was trying her on everything. If they're not good feeders on, you know, and I mean, I just feed rats as standard. I have animals that I feed Maltese, you know, and I do think once they get going and they start, that feeding response kicks in, if you want to, you can switch them back to rats easily, you know, that once they're feeding, they're feeding. And so I think, you know, she was, I was giving her some Maltese too, some bigger ones, but she was a kind of female that would only eat every sort of 3 weeks, 3-4 weeks.
So here's the thing, Christian. Here's the thing. What if I told you you could feed a ball python, let's say 2K, a 2,000 gram ball python, a 40 gram multi every 5 days, and you would get a fantastic clutch of eggs from. The problem we have when we talk about pythons, we think a python has got to take a large prey. And in actual fact, if you look at ball pythons where they're from, there's no large prey items. In fact, they have smaller meals over a regular or as much as they can get. But they will take smaller prey items and they will absorb more from a smaller prey than a big prey. And what I see is, again, I used to feed rats, and when I swapped to African soft-furred rats, I couldn't believe the change in body condition, colour, the poo. The poo was not as smelly, not as big, so they were clearly taking more from the African soft-furred rat. They weren't pooing so much, but they were growing just as well. Now, what I find is if I have a female that's a funny feeder, and you said you gave her a couple of large ASFs, what I find, if I give them smaller ASFs, like 30 to 40 grams, they will more likely take it on a regular basis as opposed to a bigger meal. And this species of python actually doesn't, they will take big prey items, but I find, and proof's in the pudding, is that they prefer smaller prey items than bigger prey items. And that's something that I've noticed over the years is, and again, they take more from the African soft-furred rat. They absorb more. They can do a lot more with them. So for me, I've had first-time females drop me 11 eggs. You know, first-time mom, 11 eggs, perfect, no issues. But when we look at going back, and again, this is all looking at a female, what they do in the wild. You know, we need to look at that and put that into play here in captivity. And there's more, it's a greater success rate. And JP Jordan, he had a leopard clown female, real dodgy feeder. He fed her one African soft-furred rat, and she went on to lay a perfect clutch. And that was his trigger point, that he realised that the African soft-furred rat for this species is so important. You know, it's so important. And back in the day, if you were to buy a snake and it was feeding on ASFs, you'd get it cheaper because it was classed as a problem feeder, when in actual fact, that's what they'd eat in the wild. So, you know, you've got to really think, you know, you've got to think smaller prey items for these animals really does make a massive difference. So when we're looking at the embryo side of things, and again, when my females go off food, when they're breeding, their follicles are about 25 millimeters. So only a follicle or a rat can take the same space. They won't stretch their stomachs so that they will get that ratting. So once a female, I find, stops feeding, is around about 25 millimeters. But if you offer a small prey item, they will more likely take that. You know,
that's interesting.
And they can and they will take it. But when I'm breeding, every 5 days I feed them nothing bigger than a 50-gram ASF, and I have no issues. So going back, I know we've gone a bit off topic regarding eggs dying in incubation and stuff like that. I think food source is very, very key. Very key. As well as temperatures, food source is key.
Yeah, I mean, I've got some babies actually that that I'm just feeding the ASF, so it'll be good to see how that goes, you know, as a sort of an experiment. I mean, for me, I've been lucky the last 2 or 3 years. I've known that, you know, if I have a clutch and they've got veins, you know, they're fine, they go in that incubator, they come out, you know, maybe have the odd egg, you know, that you have in a clutch that dies or whatever and just, you know, goes moldy and things. But generally, so it's quite an unusual situation for me, you know, with this clutch. But yeah, I think that it is absolutely to do with the condition of the female, just going back to that. But I mean, you breed your own ASFs, don't you? Yeah.
I breed my own. I'm supplied by, I have like sort of 3 sources that I get supplied with as well, because I find that if something happened to my multi-colony, then I'm gonna my projects, everything's gonna fall behind. You know, if I rely just on one source, I'm gonna struggle. if I've got multiple sources, it gives me the options where, okay, I haven't produced enough for myself, I can get them from here, and vice versa. You know, and the food source is key. It's something I've noticed, and proof's in the pudding. You know, it's there. So, but that's what I noticed with the eggs going bad. The embryo is not strong. It's going to die in the egg. It is what it is. Unfortunately, it happens. But I think, Christian, if you look back, like you said, she was a problem feeder. She wasn't really where you would like her to be in condition. You know, I also find the bounce back rate, and when I say bounce back rate, I mean after females have laid eggs, how quicker they go back on food and get back up to condition being on ASFs. But, you know, that's just what I found.
And if I could say one thing, man, it was a pain in the ass because in the beginning I was raising up my own rodents, and I met somebody who's not far from here who had an ASF colony, and sure enough, after I get the colony, I find out that they're illegal to have in San Diego. But you know, at that time, I was like, well, you know, I'm not selling them. You know, I did the ignorant thing and kept them anyway. So I kept them for like a good year and was able to raise like up to 6 colonies. And I mean, dude, I'm not gonna lie, bro. If I could have kept them, I so would have kept them, because I could just see how much my snakes loved them. But not only that, how good they were for the arboreal stuff, like my chondros. These ASFs were fucking perfect for chondros. Like a perfect adult male ASF is perfect for an adult chondro. Like oh man, I don't know. And it was just it was a shame, because I enjoyed raising ASFs 10 times more than I enjoyed raising rats, mainly because of the smell. The smell was just like night and day, bro. Like I and not only that, like, you know, I could legitimately clean the ASFs once a week with no issues and never have to worry about a smell. The rats, like, sometimes it had to be every 5 days or like, you know, 4 days. 6. It was not, you just couldn't compare the two. But, you know, in America, bro, a lot of places, a lot of people can't keep ASFs. So we can't put ourselves in a position where just because one place could have ASFs, that don't mean, you know, your customer in fucking Delaware or California or wherever can't keep ASFs, you know. But there are ways though. There are ways though. Like I said, once you get a snake on something, I didn't have any problem feeding a snake a rat after an ASF. My snake took either or, you know what I mean? But
and again, we can talk about multiple species. You know, look at what we have in captivity regarding species. If we looked at their natural diet, are we actually feeding, I don't know, a day gecko its natural diet? No, we're not. We're probably not. And we can look in captivity and say, well, we're probably, you know, I can't, you know, this dwarf caiman's laid a clutch of eggs, but they're no good. They've gone bad. Okay, well, what would that dwarf caiman eat in the wild? Would it be eating chicken? Would it be eating, you know, big slabs of meat? No, not really, because a caiman is more of a fish, you know, sort of, you know, clam type, you know, shellfish type of, you know, small mammals, that sort of thing. So if we look at their diet, I think we in captivity as breeders could have more success if we just manage to dial in the diet of what we're keeping.
I mean, if I could say also one thing, Gavin, is if it's one thing that sparked my attention about my feeding schedule the way I was feeding my ball pythons was when I found out I was overfeeding my chondros. Like, you know, you got to understand, like, for the most part, whatever works for a chondro, it probably could have the same benefit for a ball python. Meaning, like, you shouldn't be feeding a medium rat to a chondro, right? Like, what's the purpose? Even though people do it, like, you could still get away with it, but why when that's not even what they're bred for? You know what I mean? Like, they're in the wild, they're not eating anything close to that. So I feel like, dude, I feel like the dieting thing is so overlooked, and it's overlooked to a point where it's an issue. And then once it's an issue and people aren't breeding and they're like, what the fuck's going on? Then you're like, oh, I have overweight snakes, or I'm not doing it right. And then that's the problem when it's too late, you know?
With chondros as well, you've got to watch the weight, you know? It's so, you know, it's you know, it's that. And if you think of a chondro in the wild, in a tree, it's not going to be getting a full Norwegian rat climbing a tree. You know, it's going to have these little rats, little birds, little. You see what I'm saying? I mean, birds. I mean,
lizards, bro. They even eat lizards and shit. Like it's crazy. Yeah.
So when we look at what size of prey they eat, the same with ball pythons, they don't tackle a big Norwegian rat running past. You know,
right.
They're not that sort of python. A boa, not a problem. But then if you look at boas, anacondas, retics, you know, again, they can suffer with obesity because they will take it and you can overfeed them. Rabbits, this, that, the other. I'd rather just have a quality snake, you know, and a lot of my breeder females, you know, they're over 2K and they still have once a week a 50-gram ASF. Unless I'm breeding, then they'll have a 50 ASF, a 50-gram ASF every 5 days. So that's how I feed. There's no trickery involved. There's no extra large rats and then a small African soft-furred rat. That's just how I feed. And in fact, let me grab a female now very quickly and I'll show you. One moment.
Nice.
Can you get ASFs in California, MJ? Is that are they illegal?
No, they're illegal. Yeah, because of like the farming and whatnot, you know, like they just, you know, they would just fuck shit up apparently. But it was a bummer, man, because they were little neat little fuckers, you know what I mean? And they were just really cool.
It is amazing how a snake that goes off food or, you know, hits that wall will take something like an ASF, you know.
Right. Oh shit. All right, let's check this out. Go ahead, Gavin.
So I'm not sure if you guys can see this, but this is just a hypo female I've had for a while, and she's fed exclusively on ASFs.
Okay.
Yeah. You see?
Lean and good. Yeah. Like muscle lean.
But look at her. She's massive, you know? And all she's fed on is ASFs. You can still see a backbone.
How much does she weigh?
How old is she, Gavin?
2014.
And how much does she weigh? Do you know?
She's got to be 3K. But what I'm saying is, it's a 50-gram African soft-furred rat.
Yeah, nothing crazy.
Every week, you know. So
how long does it take when you're breeding them? How long will it take for one to get that size, an ASF? Like, because people say that, don't they? That you have to hold on.
Yeah, they tend to grow really
for longer to get them up. They're thinking about it.
Yeah.
So how many? Sorry. How long?
They tend to grow really quick, up until about 30, 35 grams, and then they just take ages. But it's quality. Do you know? It's like, it's not about speed, and yes, it can take time, but it's about quality and what you're putting into your animals. You know, what you put in is what you're going to get out. So if you want quality hatchlings, you know, trust me, guys. Well, do you know what? I'd rather everyone just fed rats, and I'll feed ASFs, and I'll get the production and the quality, and then no one would be successful in this and the other. But it's there, you know. People, you know, the proof's in the pudding, and for me, I'll never look back. You know, never. So I'll go and put her away.
There it is. Respect to that.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, man, if it wasn't for the damn California laws, I would definitely still fuck with ASFs for sure, 100%.
I mean, in defense of rats, you've got people like Justin, and I know that ASFs are illegal where he is as well, and he just feeds rats, doesn't he?
Yeah, and do you know what? There's nothing wrong with feeding rats, guys. There's not, honestly, and I just want people to succeed. And when I see people struggling, and you know, they're trying to feed this big rat to this snake, and they're saying, "Oh, it's not taking it," they're just not the species that we have. Unfortunately, they're just not into big prey items. You know, they prefer smaller and regular. Yeah,
100% agree. I never feed anything too big to them. I mean, you're talking about, I remember watching a video by the K brothers, who are two Australian brothers who do a lot of carpet pythons, or they used to.
Nice.
And they did a good video about the difference between power feeding and frequent feeding. And they were talking about feeding smaller things more often, and just getting the snakes in a really good routine of feeding, which I think is something I've done as well. So
Yeah.
What sort of what conversion rate do you get, Gav? I mean, I am, I will stress, because I know that, I get all my rodents from Mike over at Rattlesnacks, and I'm really happy with them. And I feel like I do get good clutches, and we're talking about one isolated incident, but I think part of what I have, in me, is that I want to know, what I could have done better. So that's why, we're talking about it. But I feel like the conversion rate I get with my females is pretty good. I'd say it's around 2/3, which I think I've heard, 65% is what people would say is a good rate.
So when you're talking conversion rate, you're talking about the animals you're breeding to laying. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
maybe breed 30 females, get 20 clutches.
Yeah. So, okay, if we look at it as a business, would you be happy with only 65% of your business being successful?
No, I know what you're saying. And I have, when I started, and I might have had 5 snakes, then I could probably guarantee that all 5 of those, if you had a good male and it would lay. And I know that, I saw on Instagram one of the was saying last year he got 25% of that sort of conversion rate. 25% of paired females laid, and I think there's a definite link that unless you've got the time or the help, that there's that exponential thing. The bigger you get, sometimes the less success you get. So it's not always good to go big, is it? Yeah.
No, and that's what going back to conversion rates, and then we can talk about the other topic. So I'm sitting at I'll tell you now, 1 minute.
What happened? What did he say?
It's gonna go get scratchy.
I'm sitting at 92% of my females that I breed go.
That's amazing.
So last year I bred 47. I think it's 92. Yeah, it's 92. I bred 47 and I had 43 lay.
That's incredible.
Okay? Wow. Now, what I do, that's not just that. I work over the years, and I was hitting, averaging 8.3 eggs per clutch. Okay, so that's my average. Every year, I try and increase my clutch capacity. So I'm happy with my conversion ratio being 80% or above. That's where I want to be. Yeah. And there's the process that I teach people is that it's working, because the evidence is there, the data is there. If I was running a business and my business was only running at 60%, I'd be worried. That's where you want to try and improve. That's like having 10 people that work for you and only having 6 of them working, and the other 4 are just sat there when you're paying them.
Passengers,
freeloaders.
Yeah. So is that, are those 47 females, are they, they're all big, females that there's
no, I was just about to say, so every year, Christian, I introduce new breeder females. So ones I've kept back and obviously introduce into the breeding team. Yeah. And every year I try and add, I don't know, let's say 10 more breeder females. Not because I want to get big, but because I've got double het projects. So with a double het project, you're not breeding 1 female, you're breeding 3 or 2 or 4 females for that double recessive. Yeah. So all of a sudden, naturally, as your projects expand and grow, your females or your collection is going to grow. And for me, what's important is I don't want to breed snakes for the hell of it. But what I am finding is every year, because my projects are growing, I need to add an extra female. Okay, well, I need that female because it's part of this project. So every year I try and increase by 5 to 10%. I think that's the percentage anyway. I try and add there's normally 8 to 10 extra females every year. And that success rate, the conversion rate that we're talking about isn't just from last year. It's from years. So I always, it's not like, not last year, but the year before I had a real hard year, which hit it hard. But last year, I'm back on track. I'm back with it. And that for me is where I want to be. If I need something for a project, I need that female to go. It's not like I've got, it's okay, I've got 5 pieds. If that female don't go, I've got 4 more chances. 9 times out of 10, I've only got 1 of that female for that project. So I need her to go. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm going to be behind with that project. So it's critical for me. This year, I had a full clutch. Only this year, full clutch of slugs this year. And that was because I didn't have a backup male. She gave me 7 eggs, first time mom. She gave me 7 eggs, all slugs. The male I was using was a first time male. It was a double het project, which was ultra male clone. So it wasn't like I could put a backup male in there. I only had 1.1. Oh, you can't do nothing about that. But if you've got a clown project and you've got a leopard clown and you've got a pastel leopard clown, you'll probably want to use the pastel leopard clown because he's got that extra gene. But that leopard clown will also work with that project because he's only missing the pastel. So you've got that backup male. And
so are you rotating them then when you do that?
When you say
oh, you mean if the pastel leopard clown in that example is just not locking up, you mean?
Yeah. So if he stops, I've got that backup male to go in. And back in the day, it was like, you need 1 male to every 3 females or every 4 females. For me, what I find is actually you need 1 male to every 2 females or 1 female because you will always need that backup male, and that's where everyone gets burned. They think they've got enough males and they just haven't. I've got 35 breeding females, and this year I'm breeding about 60 females. So that's 1.2.
That's crazy.
So that's how I try and work, because at the end of the day, I don't want my female to slug out because she's gone through all that hard work. I've gone through all that hard work. I need that for my project. And the only reason why I had that 1 clutch of slugs is because I just didn't have a backup male because I only had 1.1. I don't know about you, but you can't find double het ultra male clowns like that. So I had to just take the 1.1. But it's always next year, I mean, she was
males, I mean, like you say, a lot of people, I see this on comments and things, that I think when people start, they see these things on YouTube or whatever, and there are people that will have a male. I mean, I've had a male that's sired 10 clutches, and that a big male, a 1.5 kilo male can do that, an older one, but it's not the norm, is it? And they get tired, and I think lack of males is as you say, I see a lot of people hitting that problem.
And you want this dream male that you produced last year to go on and breed for your next season, but the fact is he may not, or he may only sire 1 clutch, and so you've got to work with what you've got. But you've also, if you need that project to come to fruition, you need that backup male. So you need to think, if that male stops breeding or stops feeding or doesn't, because there's also there's also compatibility within ball pythons, which not a lot of people believe in, but there is. They just think, oh, they're not locking. It's compatibility, or it can be compatibility. So you always need that backup plan or that backup male to get in there to do what you need to do to produce the animals that you need for your project to move forward.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, I know. You know Andy Wood, don't you? Woody's Reptiles.
Yeah.
6. I mean, he is a big proponent of that. You know, always keeps 2 males of everything. You know, if he hatches them and there's 2, you know, he won't sell one, you know, and take the money and keep one. He always keeps the 2 of them. So
Garrick DeMeyer does that. Garrick DeMeyer
Yeah.
will have 2 of the same combos, males, going through the females.
Yeah, it's a good system. Yeah. If you can hit 2, you know, the 2 you want, and you get 2 of them, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I got a question for both of you, and whoever wants to answer first, but it stands out to me here. But how many times or how often do you guys have females that don't go every year for you, or does that not quite happen often?
I have that, you know, I think, and I know that other people have it because I picked up a female off of my friend Mike over at Rattlesnacks, and you know, he said she hasn't gone for me 2 years running, and sometimes just switching them over to somewhere new can stimulate them to go. And likewise, I've sent him females over from me and said, look, you know, maybe a change will do something. But yeah, I mean, I have females that they're not, and maybe this is, you know, they're not really the one, you know, they're just ones I have, and I think, you know, I'll put a male in there, and I don't know if it's the male, or you know, maybe it's not having, you know, a different male might do it, but they're not super important ones for me. But yeah, I do have ones that have gone a couple of years and not gone. I don't know what you...
Yeah, I do and I don't. So if I'm going to breed them, I need them to go. So because it's part of a project, but I don't have as much. People use this excuse and they go, "Oh, she's taking a year off." She may be taking a year off, but in the wild they don't just take a year off because they're not the species to go extinct. Mother Nature wants them to reproduce, so they won't just go, "I'm having a year off." What it is down to a circumstance. So whether the food's not right, they haven't got remember, they've got their cycle. Well, they have 2 cycles a year, but let's talk about one cycle. So they'll have one cycle, or that cycle. If they're not ready on that cycle, if the food's not there, if the male's not right, compatibility, food, temperatures, conditions, then yes, they're not going to go. So we automatically go, they're not going to go for me this year. It's not going to happen. Right. But like you said, sometimes swapping, you know, to another breeding facility, all of a sudden they will switch on because they do want to breed. Every year they want to breed. I wasn't going to breed my pet Sugar, I call her. I've had her since 2003, my first female. She's massive. I wasn't going to breed her this year. Right. I was going to give her the year off. She gives me 15 eggs. Yeah. I wasn't going to breed her this year. She told me, no, I want to breed. So I had no option but to, because she was bowl wrapping, she was building her follicles. I ultrasounded her, and I thought, if I don't breed her, she's going to slug out.
Right.
So when we look at females going, oh, they don't want to breed, or that they're having that year off, there is normally a condition why they haven't bred or haven't gone for you. And it happens to everyone. You know, I've got a female, I missed her first cycle, and I know I could get her to breed on the second cycle, but I'm not going to because it's a pastel het ultramale female. And I've got all my ultramale projects sort of lined up. So all I'd be doing is breeding her for nothing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I missed her first cycle because of a food issue. I was struggling to get food, got food. I'm just not going to breed her. She will go on a second cycle, but I've missed it this year. I've missed it on a first cycle, if that makes sense.
Mm.
So when we look at things, they do want to go. It's just down to the conditions. And remember, a lot of people will stop breeding too early.
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, it's not going to go.
Yeah.
They will go. It's just instead of you breeding in that 6 month period, in actual fact, sometimes it takes an 8 or a 10-month period for that female to go.
100%.
Yeah, I found that with the lightning pied female I had. She's the last female, and I kind of was giving up, and again, talking to the guys I talk to, keep going with it, and I just kept pairing, and then she's gone. So I'm so happy that that's happened. But yeah, this kind of thing of like maybe in the past, it would have got to May or June, and I would have stopped or whatever. It's not always the way, is it? Sometimes you just got to keep going with them.
Yeah, and sometimes you've got to think like, if you think, so real quick, and I'm sorry if I'm going to bore people, but if you think a female ball python can grow 10 millimeters maximum every month, right? She needs to get up to 40 millimeters. So that's 4 months. That's as quick as you'll get a female to go, 4 months. But if they grow 5 millimeters a month, which they can, and still go, that's now 8 months. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It all depends.
Yeah.
If you think, if you start breeding in October, or we used to breed in November, I start now in October, but let's say November, December, January, February, you stop breeding in March and April. That's only 6 months.
Yeah.
She needs 8 months, so she needs another 2. Yeah. So when we think out loud and we're looking at follicle development and we're looking at when they're going to go, it's key. And I've got females who will grow 5 millimeters every month, and then the last month 10 millimeters, bang, done. And when you look at it like that, we as breeders, we're just shutting down that window of opportunity too early. We're going, stop breeding in March and April. No, it's not going to happen. Well, she's still breeding follicles, and then she'll go off food, she'll reabsorb, and the process. So
do you cool them down at all, Gab?
No.
Like, no, same all year round?
Yeah, because we're fortunate here in the UK that we have, look at October last year. The minute October hit, we had nothing but rain, low air pressure, dropped off the face of the earth.
Wow.
That is key. So I let my building or the room or the house, so when they were in the house, before I built the HQ here at the new house, I just let the room, the house drop down. Because you walk in your house when it's cold, what do? You switch on the heating. You can feel it. So you imagine your snakes, they can feel it. Yeah. So
there's
I don't
natural
drop temperatures.
Yeah,
I don't drop the temperatures, because think about it like this, Christian, and anyone in the UK, if you've got a hotspot of 88 to 90 degrees and you want to drop your temperatures, what happens when your house drops temperature and then the snake wants to go on that hotspot to warm up, to thermoregulate? Because that's why we have these large tubs, to thermoregulate. Let them do where they want to be. So if they want 90 hotspot, they're there. If they want 75, they're here. We give them that gradient because we let them do the work where they want to be. And when we drop temperatures, when we drop that hotspot and all of a sudden we have a cold spell, they can't thermoregulate. So that rodent that they ate last week that they're trying to digest now ends up rotting in their belly. And that's how people can kill their animals, because they die from poison, a rotting a rotting corpse of a rodent within their stomach, and it's just poisoning their system.
Yeah. I mean, I don't touch the hotspot temperatures, but it's like you say, my room is cooler in the winter and it's warmer in the summer. Basically, I drop the temperatures a bit in the winter.
Yeah, and the one thing I'll say, MJ and Christian, and anyone else in the chat, is if it's working for you, keep doing it. Yeah, and if you're in the UK, it might be worth following someone's setup in the UK and not following someone in California or Texas, you know, because it's a completely different humidity, temperatures, all that sort of stuff. You know, if it's working for you, however anyone is doing it, just keep doing it. But the one thing I don't get is the whole turning off the hotspot. You know, I just think, you know, I don't know. For me, it's just I wouldn't risk my animals. And I know too many breeders last year, I'm not going to name names, they're pretty well known. They turned off the hotspot because they saw other people turning off hotspots on Facebook and them having a better season than the year before. So they've gone, hang on, they've had a better season than the year before by turning off the hotspots. I'm going to do the same. And they've ended up losing animals. Yeah. And when they spoke to me and I said, why did you do that? And they said, oh, because so-and-so did it on Facebook and they had a better season than last year. Okay, my question to you is, what were they doing wrong last season? They were probably keeping their animals too warm. Right. So if they've turned off their hotspot, it's going to bring the temperatures down, which means they will probably have a better season. Yeah? Right. But you need to get the whole picture before you start doing stuff like that that's drastic and killing your animals.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Guys, real quick, we have about 10 more minutes. So I have a wrap-up question for the both of you, okay? And I feel like this is a question that I get a lot personally. Now, due to the fact that I'm just so diverse with everything I have, I don't feel like my niche is completely 100% ball pythons because of this sole reason. But you guys, I feel like you guys are really dialed in with your stuff. But for people out there who want it so bad, and when I say want it, you know, they want the following, they want to go ahead and get that name out there, but they don't know what direction to go with a project. Like, meaning they love ball pythons, they got money to spend, but they have no idea what the fuck to start, like what direction to go, right? And either one could start. I don't care. But what's some advice? What's some advice out there, Christian, if you want to start?
Well, my advice is to have a look and just pick something you like. I mean, I could probably make good money breeding clowns, you know. And I have a few clowns, but my passion, you know, is the pieds. I love the pieds, and you know, and the direction I will go in is if I see a nice, you know, I think something's going to work nice with that, or I see something someone's done, I think, you know, it gets my head going. So I would say, look at a lot of stuff and pick something you like the look of, you know, that gets you excited, because that's the key thing, isn't it? You know.
Yeah. Yeah, because at the end of the day, you know, you've got to work with what you like, because it's not going to happen overnight. You know, you're not gonna start producing these babies overnight. You've got to buy the babies, you've got to grow them up, you've got to breed them together, you've got to produce your babies. And if you're going to work with something project-wise, take a look around, like what Christian said. See what takes your fancy. Work with what you want to work with. Yeah, if you want to throw in a little bit of an extra project on the side that everyone loves, you can make a little bit of side earner on it, then do it. You know, but work with what you want to work with, because that's going to give you passion and drive. And there's still plenty of combinations to do out there that you can be in your first year of breeding and still make worlds first. So, you know, just work with what you like, work with what you have a plan for. Just go and do it, you know.
Yeah. You can also really sort of champion a project as well, can't you? Like I mean, we've all seen Justin do it with things, and you know, if no one else likes it, then that's better, really. Sometimes, isn't it? If you work with it, and we've seen, like, you know, the hurricane gene and things like that, when people take something and they work with it and they stick with it, and you know, it comes good in the end. So don't necessarily follow what other people are doing.
You know what? I take my hats off to people who take a project and move it sideways. So instead of going, I want to make Pompeii's, let's say, which is very difficult. You know, Justin is amazing. You know how he comes up with stuff, but even he struggles to hit that Pompeii. Take a Pompeii and move it sideways. In other words, take an ingredient away and add something else. Try and make it look different. Do something different with a project. You know, I love the Starburst project, like the lavender, Enchi, leopard, blackhead project.
Right.
I'm not a big Dreamsicle project fan because back in the day when Ralph and Justin and other people were producing Dreamsicles, that's kind of all we saw was Dreamsicle. Okay, do something different. Make something different with Dreamsicle. Do something different. And when the Starburst project come, that sort of got my interest in lavender. I don't work with lavender. I did. But now I'm seeing the Starburst stuff. I like it. And when I see people like, there's a couple of guys over in Europe who work heavily with a special pied. The special pied is a high white pied, but there is so much to do with it that I'm really excited for the project. You know, take something like a Dark Knight, a chocolate spot nose clown. Why not make an Ultramal chocolate spot nose clown? See what I mean? Just doing different things, adding your own twist, you know, and like you said, if you work with a project, you could really pioneer a project. You could pioneer.
I agree.
Love it. Powerful stuff from the UK's finest. I love it. This was definitely one of my favorite international fucking podcasts I've done. I appreciate you two so much for coming on, spending your evening with us. But Christian, real quick, before I let you go first, okay? We had at one point up to 70 people watching this. You have much love, not only in UK, but America, Canada. I guarantee other countries, man. So what do you have to say to all your supporters out there, everyone who shows you love and everyone who fucks with Dorset Pythons?
Yeah, I'm really humbled. You know, it's much, you know, I would never have thought, you know, it would, you know, we'd get that much support on Instagram. I started, you know, 4 or 5 years ago, and yeah, just thank you very much to everyone for the support, and I've really enjoyed today. It's been really good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right,
I just want to say I'm honoured to be on with Christian. He's a great guy.
awesome.
And no, seriously, I'm not blowing smoke up his arse. I don't blow smoke up anyone's arse. But Christian is a good guy. I highly recommend him to other people. When people have said to me, you know, I'm thinking about buying this snake from Christian, you know, what do you think of him? Stand-up guy, very professional. If you have any problems, he will sort it. So you're a good guy, Christian. It's good.
Thanks, Gav. I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you.
No, it is, man. It is.
All right, Christian. Hey, Christian, enjoy the rest of your evening with your family. Thank you so much for tapping in, and thank you for always supporting Trap Talk, man. I appreciate you.
Thanks, MJ. Bye, Gav.
Take it easy, Christian. Take it easy.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, now, oops, sorry, wrong one. There we go. Now, Gavin, before I have you shout out all your supporters, you and I have unfinished business, my man.
Oh,
you and I have never done hot seat questions.
Oh,
so me and you have some hot seat questions that we need to take care of. Christian's done them, so Christian already dealt. Okay. He did his hot seat questions, but you, my man, I went back and I was like, I don't think, you know, because you were one of my first, like within my first 20 episodes. So So yeah, man, let's get these hot seat questions in. I'm looking forward to getting these out of the way real quick, and then we'll have you give a shout out to all your supporters, and then we'll get going, man. So you ready for these hot seat questions?
Yeah,
all right, man. No, listen, do your best. Do your best not to do a JP. I don't need an explanation off every answer. Just boom, one after another. Okay, you ready?
Okay.
All right, here we go. Hot seat questions for balls to you. Frozen thought or live?
Frozen thought.
Egg cut or no cut?
Cut.
Egg box substrate or no egg box substrate?
Egg box substrate.
Sports or no sports?
Say that one again.
Sports or no sports?
Sports, as in activity sports.
Activities, yeah, like, you know, football or something.
Yeah, sport. Yeah, sport.
Okay. Steak or fish?
Fish.
Okay. The Doors or Elton John?
Ooh, I'd have to say Elton John.
I like that. That was honestly, I had asked myself one time, I was really high one time in my room. I asked myself that question one time and it took me like 25 minutes and I went Elton John. I don't blame you for that.
The Doors, fantastic group, but
Me too.
Elton John, pioneer.
Yeah.
Now,
100%.
if you'd have said Prince or Michael Jackson, I'd have struggled.
Oh shit. Okay. I don't want to go there, please. With all due respect. Jesus Christ. Eminem or Machine Gun Kelly?
Eminem, that's my boy.
All right. I love it. West Coast rap or East Coast rap?
Oh, mate. It's got to be the West Coast, but yeah, West Coast.
All-time favorite ball python combo?
Exantic Clown. No, Bumblebee.
Bumblebee. Awesome. All-time favorite ball python project?
All-time favorite ball python. Ultramel.
Respect. Okay, awesome. Little word association. First thing to come to mind: milk,
Eggs.
cocoa,
Bedding.
stuck shed,
Humidity.
substrate,
Reptiblock.
mites,
Oh, shit.
urate, urate, shit. Instagram trolls.
Balls to you.
Yeah, I love it. All right, dude. This is a no-brainer, but I just want to hear it because I love the energy behind it. If one has to go forever, Gavin, and I mean forever, which one is it? Instagram or Facebook? Which one got to go?
You know, it's the Instagram love.
So Facebook, get the fuck out of here. Woo! There it is, man. Long overdue hot seat questions in the books. All right, Gavin, go ahead. What do you have to say to all your love and support out there that you've been having ever since I've been coming into this hobby? I've been seeing it, and this is from somebody who's a fan of you. So what do you have to say to all your supporters out there, man?
I just want to give a massive shout out to everyone that joined tonight. I saw, obviously, we got Beach Bum Exotics. I saw Adam in the place. We saw what's
Nick.
the tall guy?
Renowned. Nick.
Renowned. Yeah, Nick. You know, and everyone else in the building. You know, Nick. I've hung out with Nick. I've hung out with Adam. I've got a lot of love for everyone that comes on and supports me. It doesn't matter who they are. Anyone that supports me and joins and just pops on and says hello. You know, I really want to say thank you to everyone. You know, who've joined in. Sorry, I didn't answer any questions, but if there was anything, you know, directed at me, please DM me on Instagram and I'll do my best to answer that. But I want to thank everyone for joining. And obviously I want to thank Christian for coming on, absolute top gent. And I want to thank you, MJ, as well, for having me back on a second time, brother. I'm looking forward to chilling with you very soon when we can get to traveling again.
Big time, man. And I'm looking forward to round 3 because, Gavin, it's always an honor and it's a treat to hear what you have to say when coming onto the show. And I always get great feedback. And more importantly, I cannot wait to see where you continue to take your success in this ball python game, man. So thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a safe night. And you're the fucking man, dude. You're honestly, with all due respect to any other UK breeders out there, this motherfucker's running UK in my eyes. So keep doing it, Gavin. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my friends. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Have a good night.
Take care, guys.
All right. There you have it, baby. UK's finest in the books. Man, that was exciting. Like I said, the reason why I brought these two on is because not only do I respect them on the same level, but they're just two different style of ball python keepers. You know, you have Gavin, who loves to put himself out there on the YouTube side with his work. And then you have Christian, who's open to talk to anyone, but he just lets all his snakes, all his posting do the talking. You know, it's just amazing, man. There's so many different styles of keepers out there, but what you have is two of the heaviest UK hitters on Trap Talk, dropping knowledge for you guys. So if you were here hanging out on your Saturday morning, afternoon, evening, good fucking call. You just learned a bunch of stuff. But you know, if this was your first time tapping in, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Make sure you go hit that subscribe button, hit the like button for my UK gents. Man, they just done killed it for you guys, man. I appreciate all the super chat love. You guys are amazing. If you want to get a hold of me, you guys already know what the deal is. Reach out to me on Instagram, mjexoticscartal. And then make sure you go follow the podcast, Instagram page, Trap Talk with MJ Podcast. And then Twitch viewers, thank you so much. I saw some Twitch viewers in the building. Hit me up on TikTok. Actually, don't hit me up on TikTok. Just go follow me on TikTok. And then, like I said, if you are looking to be a part of a sick-ass community, you want to join a family who's in it to win it, we all going to eat. Go down to the link below and join the Snake Trap Patreon page. We get together every Sunday, Zoom sessions, 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. So I'll see all my trappers, all my trap family members tomorrow night. And to all my viewers, supporters out there, thank you so much. Be ready next week because it's still going to go down. And this shit just ain't going to stop, bro. This is trap talk shit.